Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. Dr. Maher Hassouna is my chief in Canada. He was the first neurosurgeon Canadian graduate. I was the second, and I will always be the second for Dr. Maher Hassouna. Neurosurgery in private hospitals. So why private? Now, we will go first by statistics, and I would like to thank Dr. Wafa, she's sitting over there, to go and do this research for me and make those presentation and these slides for me. So this is taken from Ministry of Health statistics for 2014. Now, as we know, in Saudi Arabia, we are more than 30 million population. In 2014, we were 30.7 and so on. So it's a big population. 1/3 of those are non-Saudis, and they are not covered in any governmental sector. They are treated in the private sector. Now, out of the Saudis who are working, who are the 2/3 of this, which is 20 million, many of them, they cannot reach the governmental hospital. By that time, they get appointments or to be referred from a peripheral hospital to a big hospital. It takes sometimes even months. The clinic's waiting time is long and so on. So you can, if you think about the magnitude, then you'll think, yes, why no, not private? So the private sector is very important. Now, if you look at the number of practitioners in Saudi Arabia, generally, okay, I cannot believe those numbers, but this is the number taken from MOH statistics for 2014. Now, including consultants, registrars, and residents, in Ministry of Health, 279, in other governmental sectors, 111, in the private sector, 85. So total neurosurgeons in 2014 in Saudi Arabia, 475. 200 of them are consultants. So they are covering more than 30 million population. So we have a big field to fill by neurosurgeons, regardless which domain we go to. Now, beds, of course, Riyadh has the majority of beds in the hospitals, 4,554, Jeddah, Eastern. Go to smaller hospitals, you'll have less and less and less and less beds. I think beds also we are needed and here. Now let's talk about practitioners in certain cities. So in Riyadh, if you look here, the total number of neurosurgeons are 81. Okay, this is Ministry of Health. Okay, there are 81. In Jeddah, 20. So this is in 2014 by the MOH statistics. Okay, it's not my numbers. So in Jeddah, you had 20 neurosurgeons, 8 consultants. Anyway, 81 in Riyadh, half of them were consultants. In the other cities, there were even smaller and smaller numbers. Okay, so there's a lot of way we have to go to fill those areas with neurosurgeons. When you come to a private sector, so in Riyadh, in MOH were 80, in the private you have 27. In Jeddah you had 20, in the private you have 28. So that means like the private sector in Jeddah has more neurosurgeons than the government, and so on. When you go to smaller hospitals, you have no private sector neurosurgeons, and on the other hand, the Ministry of Health neurosurgeons are also low. So there's a big number we have to fill. Now, the neurosurgical procedures generally, okay, so I just wanted to look at this one. In Riyadh, in the MOH, 2,867 cases in 2014 compared to 1,600. So think about it, 80 neurosurgeons in Riyadh did 2,867, and 20 surgeons in Riyadh did 1,600. So that means, to my knowledge, the private sector doctors did more procedures than the government hospital doctors did. If you look at Jeddah, in the MOH, it was 379 procedures compared to 1,193 in the private sector. Okay, 20 physicians here, 28 physicians here, but the difference is like 4 times the amount of the work which is done in the private hospital. If you go to by different hospitals, and excuse me if there are some mistakes, but this is from the MOH statistics, not my numbers. In the university hospital here, 324 procedures in 2014. These are all neurosurgical procedures, okay? Could be carpal tunnel, I don't know, could be craniotomies for tumors or aneurysms. In the Jeddah was more. It was 403 in the university hospital. In Dammam, it was 285. All the armed forces hospitals in Saudi Arabia, there were 1,000 cases. Look at Aramco, 1,195. So, I mean, there are sectors which are, I think, operating more than other sectors. Although, to my understanding, I think the governmental hospitals should be having bigger numbers. But I don't know, might need to go further in details in these ones. Now, after these numbers, okay, so it shows you that the private is there. Whether and a neurosurgical need, whether academic or peripheral or private, the need is there, and it's your choice where to go. Now, to differentiate, okay, you have to know the pros and the cons, and the pros and the cons could be for the from the patient's side and could be from the doctor's side. So, working in private for the patient, pros, of course, the patient can go today and see the physician, or tomorrow. He can book an appointment and he can be seen now instead of waiting for 3 months or 6 months in the governmental hospital or having to have a referral and so on. They can go and choose their own physician. So today the patient goes and he wants Dr. So-and-so. He chooses the neurosurgeon he wants to go to. And in the private hospital, the one who will be treating is under, it will be the consultant who will be giving in the other hospitals, it might be the registrar, could be the junior, and so on. So these are pros for the patients. Now, for the patients, also, if you, sorry, I'm going back. Sorry, I went back, sorry. I'm going where? I'm lost. Okay. So for the patient, we were here. Now, some private hospitals are very well equipped, and so are the government hospitals. But the bed situation in some of the private hospitals for the ICUs and un-ICUs and pediatric ICUs are very, very good in number, and they equip them because it is a money generator. So you'll see like big ICUs, pediatric ICUs, NICUs, and you'll have available beds so the patient can be admitted in there. It's more luxury in the private. You'll have better, for the patient to have a better suite and better room and better service and so on. Now, the pros for a neurosurgeon. Why is better for a neurosurgeon? As Dr. Maher said, higher income. Yeah, it's a higher income. But why higher income? Because they are recruiting you. So it's your value, and that's why you're getting this higher income. Excuse me, but in the government, all are equal. So, but in the private, I think you make your value. The turnover cases is, I think, is more. As I said, better equipped ORs. You might be able to purchase easier. I want a new microscope. If I'm producing, they will get me a new microscope. I want a drill, they'll get me a new drill, and so on. So I can get my own equipment faster and sooner. Emergency cases can be dealt quickly. The patient satisfaction, I think, in the private will be better because they've seen the doctor, consultant very quickly, admitted quickly, managed quickly, followed up quickly in the clinic, and so on. The patients in the private, sometimes they come for the doctor, okay? So they want Dr. Let's say Dr. Abdul Hakim. So they are going to the hospital to see Dr. Abdul Hakim. So the reputation in the private is very important, okay? More OR time we have, more clinics are available, and of course you have more years for retirement in the private. Don't forget that. In the government, you retire by age 58 because it's Hijri. In the government, 60, because it's Gregorian, plus you can work up to 65. Now, cons for the patients. Of course, it's expensive. You have to pay for it. So either you have cash or you're insured, or your company is covering for you. Not like the government. In the government is covering for the finances. The procedures neurosurgical are expensive, and so on. Complex cases, we might have to refer them to Dr. Maher and so on, because they need specialized centers. And sometimes in the private, you'll see surgeons who are doing maybe over-treating or doing unindicated surgeries and so on. And this might be also present in other hospitals, but I think in private might be more. Now, cons for the neurosurgeons, of course, more lawsuits, more complaints. They even complain that the doctor smiled, the doctor didn't smile, the doctor was 5 minutes late, the doctor yawned. They complain, every day they complain about the doctors, regardless of what you do. But more working hours, we work 48 hours compared to 40 hours. Vacation is limited, the family time is limited because we have double shifts and so on. And for the juniors, registrars and specialists, they don't have much of hand-on because it's usually the consultant who's doing the procedure, usually. Now, your asset to be in the private, okay, it's your training. So where you were trained, what you were trained, your center where you were trained, that's very important. The degrees you got is very important because this will open the offers for you. It will increase the salary for you and so on. The reputation is important, okay? You're here not to be for a year or two, you're here to stay. And so reputation is important, whether you're doing the indicated surgery, how is your complication, how you're dealing with complication, how you are dealing with the family and the patient and so on. And continuing education is very important because there are a lot of advancements. So if you stay as you are, then you're leaving the market for a junior neurosurgeon who is maybe now has new techniques and stuff, and he will pick up the patient. So you have to do the education, you have to upgrade yourself, you have to do the near procedures and so on. Spectrum services, of course, it also again depends. Like, as a neurosurgeon, in the private, you need to do, you have to have a wide spectrum of cases you can do. And it all depends, again, on your training, on your fellowships, on the experience you did, on your continuous updating and so on. Now, you have to have a good relations with the companies, okay? Because if you are doing indicated surgeries, the company will not approve your other cases. If you have bad outcomes, the company will not approve your other patients, and so on. You put your reputation by your publishing, by your contacts, by dealing. You have to have good relations with all the other facilities because they will send the patient to you, whether they are neurologists, ER physician, physiotherapist, family physician, and so on. You have to have good relations with them. So I feel now, it's been very rewarding for me, okay? Alhamdulillah. Thank to God, it's been improving all the time, alhamdulillah. My reputation, alhamdulillah, has been improving. And the financially, alhamdulillah, I've been going up and up. All this is my own personal experience in the private sector. Of course, the complaints are more on silly things. In the private, they complain about silly things, actually. I have good memories, I have bad memories. We all have good memories in any sector we do. If you go back to my training, alhamdulillah, I was trained in University of Alberta. We did everything. Degrees, alhamdulillah, I got the American board and the Canadian, and that helped in what I am at the moment. The experience I got, I worked, I covered many hospitals at that time. I covered, National Guard for 4.5 years. I went to King Faisal Specialist Hospital. I kept moving from place to place according to a better offer, alhamdulillah. I moved from Jeddah to Khubar, from Khubar to Riyadh, next who knows where. Some people might say there. But it all depends The market is there. It depends on you. You make your own level, and the offer comes to you. And my advice, generally, for the juniors, is start in the government, because you need to use your hands and do cases and get experience, and then move to the private to have a better salary and better living standard, inshallah. Thank you.